Hi, I'm Joe Gladney from the Playbook. This will be a recap of Playbook Talk Radio, where Alan Lamar, 2016 running back out of DeSoto Central High School, South Haven, Mississippi, announced earlier this week that he committed to Yale University. Tune in as his father discusses how he reluctantly used social media, and 3 years later, 20 offers came through Twitter, and one being Yale University. Hope you enjoy the show.
So I want to welcome him back to the show. Colonel Al Lamar, welcome to Grind Time Tuesday.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great, man. Just blessed and highly favored, man. And we've come to the end of this journey. You and I started together roughly 3 years ago talking about social media and exposure and the whole 9 yards. But you've got to be feeling great right now.
I am, and this thing has been a long journey, and I know you remember back to the day we first met when you were telling me about the social media piece, and I told you I don't do social media, and I don't do on it. Did everything in my power to stay off of it, but we've been at this thing for 3 years now. And we started now to reap the benefit of 3 years worth of work on social media. So, hey Joe, I'm glad we were introduced, and I'm glad that we developed this relationship over 3 years. And most of all, I'm glad that we've been able to do a lot on social media and through the playbook.com.
Well, I tell you what, man, it's been a benefit, man. It's been a mutual relationship. And I just wanted the country to know who your son was and who he is. And, we're broadcasting live out of Atlanta, Georgia. They call it a hotbed of the ACC when it comes to football. And I see some great athletes. I mean, and I can call them off. I can tell you right now, there's not another athlete on my network that's more committed to the grind and than your son. And so what he was able to do academically, both athletically, in one season is just beyond all. It's just beyond all my beliefs, man. Because you have kids here that's getting a lot of SEC offers and ACC offers, but Alan, you were able to snag a ton of Ivy League offers, and that had to be huge. And so I know that you played a great partner. But Alan, walk us through this a little bit of this whole. When did the offer start coming?
I would say the offer started coming somewhere around, I think it was March 2014. My first offer was Alabama State. And then shortly after that, I started getting a bunch of these Ivy League offers. And it was like, since one Ivy League school, the rest offered me as well. So I started picking up a lot of interest from the Ivy Leagues, and then I got a couple more offers. But at that point, when it started getting into football season, I just started looking more Ivy League than anything else. After football season, I began to set up my official visits, and I set them up to then Yale and Harvard. And I got through Princeton, and at the end of the Yale trip, I committed because I just felt that was my home.
Well, how did it feel? And I think your dad can chime in on this a little bit. We want to bounce around a little bit, want to make sure we let our parents here, and then so our athletes. Alan, talk about how did you use social media? Because I know you went to some of the camps, but as a tool, because you have the academic 4.4 GPA, and you're athletically gifted, but you're in a part of the country. Mississippi, some great football there, but when you think of football, you kind of think of Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Texas, California. So, and you didn't hit a lot of I know you was injured early, so you didn't hit a lot of the camps. But talk about, so how did you use social media to start reaching out to coaches, and how did coaches reach back to you on social media, aka more so Twitter?
Well, my dad, he did pretty much most of the work. He sent my highlight film to, I don't know, like hundreds of different schools, and some would reply and some wouldn't. But it really just takes one to reply, and then once you get the ball rolling, it all starts from there. So my dad, he sent a lot of these different schools highlight films, and he would leave my Twitter handle at the end of the email, and that's how they would contact me. They would shoot me a DM over Twitter. So that's how I pretty much picked up pretty much all my offers.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is your dad was really, you focus on the grind. You focus on being an athlete. You focus on your academics. Now, Al, you were dead set against using Twitter. I called you and you you were on a great recruiting site, NCSA, which is a great recruiting site. But what we try to introduce you to is taking that content and sharing it across social media. Now, talk to us a little bit about how you embraced Twitter.
Well, the big thing with Twitter is that the Twitter allowed me from Mississippi to reach both the East Coast, the West Coast, the Northwest. It allowed me to reach from one coast to the other in a moment's time, just a moment's time. When we set out on Twitter, we sat down, and everything that I read and learned, even from you, is that the reason Alan Lamar in South Haven, Mississippi, is not recruited by a school out in California is because they don't know he exists. And so the campaign that we used was to make sure every school from the East Coast to the West Coast knew that there was a kid in Mississippi that could really play football but had great academics. And once we started getting that message out, when we sent emails to them, and they would reply back by just following him on Twitter. And then we would reply back to them by saying, "Hey, Coach, thank you for following me. If you need additional information, please forward your email address." And the coach would forward a direct email address to him so that we can send his transcript, his ACT score sheet, and any other highlight videos, articles, or anything else that was being published about Allen across in newspapers and send that across the net. Once that information got out, it took on a life of its own.
Wow. Again, what a great success story for Alan Lamar, 2016 running back out of South Haven, Mississippi. 4.4 GPA, 29 on the ACTs, and an excellent football player with probably not the best exposure. Embrace social media, meaning Twitter, and stay true to the grind. And now he's rewarded with a 4-year full ride to the University of Yale. Congratulations again. We wish you much success from the Playbook. Continue to follow us on Twitter @PlaybookAthlete.